If I had to build a SaaS platform today, I wouldn't write a single line of code. I wouldn't deploy Kubernetes. I wouldn't choose AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. I'd start with a document. Because the biggest mistake most SaaS teams make isn't choosing the wrong technology. It's building the wrong product with the wrong architecture. This completely shatters the biggest myth in software engineering. We all tend to think that SaaS success is strictly about raw engineering talent or picking the absolute trendiest tech stack. It's really not. It's actually about building the right product with the right architecture. If I started a SaaS company today, I literally wouldn't touch an IDE or spin up a cloud server on day one. I'd start by writing things down. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with business before technology, look at AI as a research assistant, design the right architecture, choose cloud services and scale, design for fast adaptation, and finally look at the role of the human architect.
All right, let's jump right into step 1, business before technology, and understanding the real problem.
Your architecture must always exist to support business goals. It's not a sandbox for you to showcase your technical skills. You absolutely have to separate what you assume users want from validated requirements. If you don't, you're just going to end up overbuilding. Focusing strictly on validated requirements defines a really tight MVP, minimum viable product, which helps you identify the real customer and saves your initial launch from total feature bloat. I see startups routinely spend months, sometimes years, building out these massive features before they ever validate market demand. But here's the harsh truth. The absolute best architecture in the world simply cannot save the wrong business idea. You have to know the exact problem you're solving before drawing a single box on an architecture diagram.
Moving on to step 2, let's look at AI as a research assistant and how we turn those ideas into actual requirements. In a modern architectural workflow, you really shouldn't be starting from a blank page anymore. You can use tools like NotebookLM, not to replace you as the architect, but as an incredibly intelligent research assistant. It's a total game changer. It accelerates your thinking by handling the heavy lifting, summarizing market research, extracting customer pain points from discovery calls, and drafting functional user stories to build out a really comprehensive project knowledge base.
But let's be crystal clear here. The architect still owns every important decision. AI is fantastic at organizing massive amounts of data, sure, but it cannot decide what actually matters to your specific business context. Those critical architectural choices that define whether your operations succeed or fail, they still rely entirely on experienced human judgment.
Okay, part 3, designing the right architecture and why you really need to keep it simple.
When you're designing that version 1 platform, simplicity is absolutely your ultimate weapon. Most startups should heavily lean towards modular monoliths over microservices. Why? Well, you want to avoid network latency, complex distributed data tracing, and all that orchestration overhead right out of the gate. I've seen simple, well-structured monoliths vastly outperform fragmented microservices time and time again, simply because the team wasn't drowning in DevOps. Simple architectures survive because the teams actually understand them. Version 1 shouldn't try to impress other engineers with some massive, complex whiteboard diagram. Focus purely on API-first thinking, rock-solid authentication, basic multi-tenancy, and tight security fundamentals. At the end of the day, your architecture just needs to help your customers succeed. Let's shift to step 4, choosing cloud services and scale, which should always be driven by your actual business needs. When you're evaluating cloud providers, don't just blindly follow the industry trends. Look at cost, compliance, your team's current expertise, and your time to market. Managed services are usually the fastest path to getting your product out there. Start with managed databases, CDNs, and serverless functions. You want to deliberately delay deploying complex orchestration, like Kubernetes, until it's mathematically justified by actual user growth. Because keep this in mind, the cloud doesn't actually eliminate complexity, it just shifts where that complexity lives. Every single service you choose to manage yourself is another responsibility your team inherits. And every hour spent managing that infrastructure is an hour taken away from building features that actually generate revenue. This directly impacts how you handle scale. Look, it's a harsh reality that most SaaS startups dramatically overestimate their infrastructure needs on day one. They'll spend months building out this bulletproof multi-region infrastructure to support traffic they literally don't even have yet, instead of just acquiring users. You need to design for hundreds of concurrent users to start, not millions. Seriously, stop building for millions of users you don't have.
Your very first scalability problem is finding customers, not serving them. So, scale appropriately, use auto-scaling only where you genuinely need it, and please avoid premature optimization. Finding product market fit is hard enough without fighting your own over-engineered infrastructure.
Which brings us to step 5, designing for fast adaptation and optimizing for change.
In the real world, software changes way more often than it ever scales. Because of this, we have to prioritize refactoring over rewriting. Keep your components loosely coupled, maintain crystal clear boundaries, use clean interfaces, and make sure pieces are easily replaceable. This is exactly how you guarantee smooth, incremental evolution over time. Your real competitive advantage isn't your specific technology stack. It's how affordably and quickly your team can adapt to new demands. A good architecture doesn't try to predict the future, it makes adapting to that future inexpensive. If a competitor pivots, a well-architected platform lets you follow suit without tearing down your entire codebase. Finally, step 6, the human architect, and what AI simply cannot do. While AI is incredibly capable at generating potential solutions, assessing long-term maintainability is a strictly human endeavor. Navigating complex trade-offs, managing real-world risks, balancing cost against performance, and aligning technology with shifting business priorities, all of this requires deep context and experience that AI just doesn't possess right now. Great architecture isn't about endlessly adding new components. It's about making clear, definitive decisions and actively removing the unnecessary ones. It's the human architect who ensures the business can grow freely without carrying the crippling burden of technical debt. So, look at how this complete workflow connects. We go from the initial business requirements to utilizing AI to build your knowledge base, down to high-level design, core decisions, cloud selection, and continuous improvement. It proves definitively that every successful SaaS platform begins long before anyone ever opens an IDE. To wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with a question to take back to your own teams today. Are you just chasing the latest, flashiest tools, or are you actually solving real customer problems? Take a hard look at your current architecture. What unnecessary complexity can you remove right now so your business can truly thrive?